How's Bristol here from thirstgym.com. Today we're going to talk about 7 exercises or the best exercises for strength that I like to help increase your speed and help you run faster. Okay, so to kick things off, I want to make sure that people know that we're after strength exercises here. I still think plyometrics, jumps, sprints, loaded sprints, and different plyometric exercises are fantastic for improving your sprint speed. However, when it talks about strength exercises that we're doing in the gym, these are the exercises that I think are going to benefit you and give you the most bang for your buck. Exercise number 1 is going to be the power or the muscle snatch. Either one is going to be great depending upon how you like to teach the snatch. Now, the snatch is very controversial, whether it's worth the time on the return on investment, but the muscle snatch has been great to show for rate of force development, which is how much weight or how much force you can put into the floor or the ground as fast as possible to create as much force as fast as possible to be able to take off. Think of that first step quickness coming out of the blocks in a track, or anytime you need that burst of speed, being able to create that force as fast as you can. There's no better exercise than the snatch, especially from velocity-based training, looking how fast the bar speed moves into relation with how much force we can put into the ground. This exercise has been studied and shown to increase that rate of force production almost better than any other exercise when it comes to putting force into the ground. Exercise number 2 is going to be the hang power clean. And the reason I like this exercise in particular is it teaches us to absorb that force as we go to catch it in that athletic based stance, but we're working from the hang so we can get some reactability from that exercise. Looking at when we go down to start that clean, as we go down, we've got to reverse that load and then achieve a triple extension. So we're going to see the stretch shortening cycle enhanced here, and that's going to help the posterior chain develop that. So whenever we need to be able to do that in sport, we have that trained, but it's also can help us create as much force into the ground as we do that. And then again, as I talked about, when we go to receive that weight, we're going to be able to create load and stop. So think about having to actually decelerate. That's going to prepare our body to be able to do that, but under load. Exercise number 3 is going to be the good old-fashioned box squat. Now, while I like the back squat, the main reason I like the box squat is because we're going to break up that eccentric and concentric chain with the box. And so that's called static overcome by dynamic. And this was invented, or I shouldn't say really invented, but brought to limelight by Louis Simmons from Westside Barbell. And he found that using the box squat and breaking that chain up made his lifters stronger and therefore increased their squat. The other nice thing is you're always going to train the specific joint angle that you want. So if you want to focus on a higher box or a lower box, it's much easier to dial that in with your athletes. But again, it also is just going to teach them how to squat fundamentally well with the box. So as we go down, we're still going to lower, but then we have to create as much force as we can coming off that box. If you want to add bands and chains, do so. That's also just going to increase your more explosiveness power, your dynamic effort-based work. And you're going to find that's going to translate again over to the field or the court of play. When you need that sudden burst, you're going to be able to go and have that pop that you're really looking for. Exercise number 4 is going to be the front squat. Now, the reason I like the front squat is because it helps aid the clean. So if you are a pro clean based coach, you like the Olympic variants, I think you need the front squat as you get used to catching that clean in a good quality front rack position. But also it's going to let us improve our mobility, stay more vertical and upright. So if we need to work on being able to get in a deeper position, we want to work on that knee drive, the front end mechanics, and we're actually going to have that leg drive up good and hard as we go to push down. That's going to have us ask the athlete to be in a deeper state of hip flexion, and we can get that from the front squat. I also like too, that's going to bulletproof the midsection, the upper back. As we go to hold that load up in front, we're going to be in a good quality place to be able to generate as much force as possible. Again, you could do this for speed if you really wanted to. You could pair it with your plyometrics and some post-activation potentiation, some French contrast training. There's a lot of great reasons to use an exercise like this, but I really drift towards the front squat with almost any of my athletes, but in particular, if we're trying to get faster, I definitely want to make sure that we're front squatting. Exercise number 5 is the glute hamstring, the Nordic curl, or the inverse curl, whatever you happen to have access to, because I know replicating this movement is very hard. You may only have access to one of these. Ideally, I think you're gonna wanna use the inverse curl because you can offset that load. You can also get your leg completely straight and focus on the hamstring strength on the back side of the lift of the athlete. And then as they go to perform that exercise, their hamstrings having to work at both joints, but that's including the knee and the hip. Also, there's a pretty good correlation, or you could say causation even, between athletes that can do Nordics or good quality inverse curls and their sprint speed. So the stronger you are, the faster you're gonna be able to sprint, because it's gonna help aid the backside mechanics of running fast. And we found that when we implement glute ham raises, inverse curls, not only do our athletes get faster, we've yet to have any kind of major hamstring issues with our fast athletes that are looking to sprint faster. So again, if anything else, it's just gonna keep your hamstrings ready for when you need to hit that really fast sprint. Exercise number 6 is the good old-fashioned Bulgarian split squat. I almost contemplated listing this first, but I think hitting your big bang for your buck movements first is probably more important. But if we're gonna go with a single leg exercise and we're merely after producing as much speed and force through the ground as possible, I'm gonna go with the Bulgarian split squat. Having that rear foot elevated up is gonna push us forward, almost in that forward lean that we need in a good quality sprint to be able to be as fast as we can. And then you can load that up however you want, whether you wanna have dumbbells to your side, you want to hold double rack kettlebells or sandbags, you want to put a barbell on your back and do it. I'm good with all that, but if you're Bulgarian split squatting, you can be sure that you're going to be running faster in no time, really blowing up the quads and the glutes and even some of the hamstrings to some extent. If you need to develop more of your quads with this exercise, like coming out of the blocks, then I would recommend bringing your front foot in a little bit. If you're looking to just overall improve that sprint speed, then you can bring your foot out to about a normal and you're going to get way more glutes. It will make your athletes incredibly sore, so I really like this in an off-season period. That way that I can make sure that the muscle soreness isn't going to affect their sprint ability in season, and we got different exercises we like to use during that time of year. And the last exercise is going to be the hand-supported single leg dumbbell RDL. Again, I really like training the posterior chain for any of my sprinters, but the hand-supported single leg dumbbell RDL lets us take some of the balance equation out by being able to hold on to something and then really load that hamstring up in a stretched position. And by being able to do that, we're going to get more hypertrophy. We're going to strengthen the hamstring, again, at the hip joint specifically and the glutes, but we're going to have those tendons and muscles ready for high-end sprinting all the time. And so I always make sure my athletes have some sort of single leg hinge program in their program, especially if they're a runner, but I would really drift towards the hand supported just for the mere fact that we can load the weight up as much as possible and get the muscles and the tendons to adapt as quickly as we can and take that balance out of the equation. Okay, that wraps up my best exercises, in particular strength exercises for improving your sprint speed and being faster. You've got to be strong to be fast. There's no question about that. Being strong in these exercises and technically proficient, you can guarantee that your sprint time is going to go down, your sprint speed is going to go up, your ability to stop, change direction, that's all going to improve with these exercises because it's going to work on increasing not only the amount of force that you can create, but it's also going to develop the rate of force, or how fast you can create that force to being a faster athlete. So if you're trying to figure out what exercise do I need to do, start with these 7, see how they help you go in your journey of sprinting faster. If you got any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks, we'll see you next week.